Welcome to the Bedchest Spoken, a Survivor podcast from Bench Points Network. I'm Mary. This is Becca. We are longtime friends, but even longer time Survivor fans. Each week, we watch the latest episode and provide a recap, predictions for the next episode, and something else. And commentary. This Cirie exits just really got me in a tizzy, Becca. Anyway, let's start from the beginning.
Yeah.
What are your initial thoughts on this episode?
My initial thoughts on this episode were the lot happened, but in a very casual fashion. So it had a dramatic ending, obviously twice, two dramatic endings, but the lead up felt pretty chill and almost predictable. And I hate to say it, almost predictable. And even before we went into this season, and we're going to talk about the details, of course, so stay tuned and don't hang up now. Even before this started, Mary, you knew it was going to be Devens and Cirie.
Well, if I felt like this was going to go one of two ways. Either we were going to see people really dial in and play Survivor, and then it was going to be Devens and Cirie unless they won challenges or something, or we were going to see more lay back and let the big kids play, and then they would both still be here. Like, say Devens found an idol and Cirie convinced everyone not to vote her out. But yeah, I kind of don't like that I was right.
Yeah, with her witch doctor ways, I thought there was no way that they were going to get her out because I didn't think I didn't think they had the balls to do it. I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Survivor 50, man. And it's funny to me that 3 new era players got her out. Now, I would say Joe and Jonathan might have old era vibes, but yeah.
That's interesting. We did a poll on our TikTok before this season started, and we said, "Who do you think is going to dominate, old era or new era?" We got tons of feedback, and it was resounding that old era was going to just totally dominate the game, which they've been kind of trickling off. It's very heavy new era this late in the game, which is surprising to me as well. I guess we could start from the beginning. After last episode, the episode before last, Ozzy went home and they were getting back to the beach. And I think Rizzo thought Cirie was going to be mad at him because Ozzy went home and Rizzo was just trying to, it almost felt like a teenager who came home late and explaining why it was like bad that he came home late is what it felt like. But Cirie got it. I mean, yeah, at this point in the game, what options do you have? It almost has to be anybody but me.
Yeah. And I think, I don't know, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I can't wait to see and hear Rizzo's interviews after the season is over because I want to know, like, at what point did he think, oh, I've really got to get rid of Cirie? Like, I have to get a plan in place to get her out. Or was it like just truly in that moment on that day, like, this is the choice? But anyway, that's ahead of myself.
Let's talk about Rizzo for just a second. I'm hearing chatter online that says that Rizzo has been sick for the majority of season 50, and I don't see it. You told me that too yesterday.
I didn't notice it myself, but once I heard it, I was like, I wonder if that's why he seems more subdued. Because we, at least in the edit, we haven't seen a lot of like the cuckoo stuff or like the RSEGOD baby, that kind of thing the last few episodes. Or at least nothing's like standing out. So maybe that's part of it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he looks thinner, but not sick.
Right. That's interesting.
But I think he did a good job of explaining to Cirie why it happened, and I'm sure that she was mad, but she seems so I mean, it's like it'd be like if you went and told the Godfather that something like that happened, they're not gonna, like, have a knee-jerk reaction, cut your head off right in that moment. So she's, like, calm, cool, collected. She's gonna take a minute, try to figure out what happened, see, is this really Rizzo backstabbing me, or is this something that was done for a reason? And I think, his reasoning obviously made sense to her, and she then felt like an idiot. What'd she say? "I wouldn't have hitched my wagon to an idiot." So, yeah, but, I'm always gonna have, like, the overthink it, overanalyze it, conspiracy theory sort of reaction to everything, so I was wondering, is she gonna pretend that she's okay with it and then attack Rizzo later in the episode, which obviously that didn't happen, but, yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah. And then, well, we'll talk about that in a moment. But after everybody kind of got their thoughts about Ozzy leaving, and we went just immediately into a individual immunity challenge to the point where we were both like, "Whoa, What do you
Yeah,
mean it's individual immunity challenge? It's been like 8 minutes.
yeah.
And it was would you call it an obstacle course?
Uh, yeah, yeah, that's a good word for it, especially with the having to go through the tube thing.
Yeah, yeah, bless their hearts. I don't think that would be a pleasant, experience,
No,
going the tube, but
that looks so freaking painful. I was just imagining what it would feel like when that cage hit the ground and you're on your knees and you, like, bang into the ground. What a
on a rope,
disaster.
getting
Yeah.
broken everywhere, it'd be terrible.
The noise Cirie made when she hit the ground, like, that would have been me. She was everybody then.
Do you think Serena was thinking, "Hey, I've never won a challenge. I've played a million times. I'm never gonna win a challenge. Can I please sit out?"
Maybe.
Rizzo also never won a challenge.
Mhm.
He's
That made
got
me oh, go ahead.
Rizzo's got the buy and hold strategy, and it's working real, real well for him.
That made me think of on this is so random, Jake cut this out, but on the current season of Top Chef, one of the players somehow hurt her arm, and I don't understand, I mean, this is a cooking competition, so how do you hurt your arm? I don't know. But she seemed like she didn't wanna be there from the beginning, like, she just felt very, like, apathetic about the whole thing. I mean, she's doing okay, but just was a weird vibe, and then she, like, hurt her arm somehow, and she kept having to, like, sit out of challenges, and she was in a sling. But she would do, like, the elimination challenge and not the, like, quick fire challenge, and then they finally were like, "If you don't compete in the next quick fire, you have to go home." Like, but
Did she
anyway.
really?
Yeah, she did. She ended up having to leave because of her arm, but
They said put up or
anyway,
I'm surprised, but
sorry that was an aside. But, yeah, that would be funny if she was just like, "You know, Jeff, and I know. I'm just gonna go sit over on that bench,
yeah,
okay? And I'll just hopefully find an idol, or can you send me on another journey?"
right. Well, and no advantages, no individual immunity challenge. Truly, on paper, Sari would not have lasted this long.
And you know what I'm thinking? Okay, I'm definitely getting ahead of myself, but this just occurred to me. We saw no scenes or anything where there was any conversation that Rizzo would play his idol for her. And you never, like, most of the time when you have a really tight duo like that, if one of them has an advantage, there's at least a discussion, right? So that's interesting to me. And I wonder if it just never came up or if they just edited it out. But that would be interesting to know as well.
There's that too, because Rizzo knew his name was not on the list. He
Hmm.
could have played his idol for Sari, and then Sari and Rizzo voted for Aubry, and that would have been that.
Yeah.
But I think he was trying to save it for next week, so he ends up in the top 5. I'd be
Yeah.
surprised if he told her no.
Yeah. Maybe he just lied to her. I don't know.
I don't think she had any expectation Rizzo was gonna play her idol play his idol for her.
Yeah. Okay, so they do this challenge, and at the end, they have to spell no, that was later.
Yeah.
Is this the one where they do Inconceivable? Or is this now I'm getting confused.
Yeah. No, no, no. This is the one where they spelled immunity with the I'm sorry. This is not the first challenge was not obstacle course. It was the
Right.
platform I wrote.
That makes more
And,
sense.
they Joe ended up winning
Mhm.
the individual immunity challenge. If you follow us on TikTok, you'll know, but I'll tell you anyway. Joe is now tied with Ozzy for the second most individual immunity wins of any Survivor player. Number one is Boston Rob.
And that's wild because he's only been on 2 seasons. Ozzy and Boston Rob did that over how many seasons? And
Yeah.
he's done this in 2. So, regardless of my personal feelings of him, that's impressive. I okay, so this was an interesting challenge because I feel like there were multiple times someone was at the very end and then, like, lost it. And I think the only person who didn't have their thing topple over ever was Joe, right? Like, he was just going really slow and steady. Everybody else was maybe moving a little too quickly. I was kinda surprised he won, but I guess maybe if I think about it in terms of a firefighter and all that and, like, being calm and training and stuff, like, maybe that makes sense, but they really spent a lot of time highlighting Aubry being ahead, and I'm gonna touch on that again later when we talk more about next week and theories.
Mhm. Yeah. So Joe won and he got individual immunity, but more importantly than individual immunity, ribs, giant ribs, big giant beef ribs, which I don't think I've ever seen in real life. And he got to pick people to go with him and he picked Cirie and Rizzo. And I don't think that was, he said it was because neither one of them had eaten much, but I think it's because he was trying to get them on his side.
Yes, we just had all that food at the dang auction, so much so that she barfed and then had to eat more.
Yeah.
And I know that was several days before, but still.
Yeah. Well, comparatively. And Tiff and Jonathan were pissed because apparently Rizzo got cookies and something and chicken and didn't eat all of his chicken. So they were pissed that Joe took him when he didn't eat all of his chicken.
Mhm.
So when Cirie and Joe and Rizzo were at I don't even think they were at the sanctuary. Looks like they just kind
It
of,
was on some random beach eating.
yeah, I've
That
always,
is wait a minute. That is weird because that's like the 2nd or 3rd time that people have just randomly eaten on a side beach instead of going to the sanctuary, and I wonder why.
doesn't eating ribs on the beach sound like hell?
Yeah, all that sand and everything, and then you're covered in sand, and then the food's covered in sand.
Yeah, is this a reward or is this a punishment? But my favorite part about this whole situation was when Jonathan, Tiffany, and Aubry were back at the beach and Jonathan's just starving and he's eating dry rice and he keeps checking the pot to see if it's boiling. And it felt very sibling coded where Tiffany was like, "Stop eating the dry rice. Stop checking the pot. Watch pot never boils. Stop, stop." Like she was like, I guess Devens was there too, but she was like pissed off at Jonathan. Anything he did, she was like, "I don't like that."
Well, then he did put his tongue in the rice, so there's that too.
Yeah, yeah.
But
No, I
yeah,
don't
that
think
was
she could've
funny.
done it, but, like, if she's just gonna bitch about everything, why not?
It was salty. Yeah.
And
Do you
then
think that at that point, Joe thought that Cirie was somehow gonna make it and he was trying to be on her side because he knew that he would be a threat? Because it occurs to me that
I think he thought Cerie's running the game.
yeah, just feels weird. Like I don't know what to think about when they're in that situation where someone is dominating, but only socially and strategically, and you're post merge where everything truly at this point is an individual immunity. Like I just don't think I understand the putting someone up on a pedestal at that point and like going along with whatever they say if they are not a threat to win an immunity challenge. And in that moment, you can take control of the game, you know?
Well, I think his thought process and I could be wrong. I think it's he thought Cerie voted for Cerie, Cerie votes for Rizzo, Cerie votes for Jonathan. So I think he was thinking Cerie is really 3 people and I'm 1 person, so 4 is the majority.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, that's what I think that he was thinking, and maybe I'm wrong, and maybe he was just
No,
thinking
that
about,
makes sense.
but I don't think he was.
So this
And
all
what if he would have picked Rick? That would have been funny. That would have been awkward.
this was all a very like I feel like we could have talked about all of the first half, like the first 40 minutes of this episode in like 3 minutes because it was very like bam 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 like going to the challenge, have this quick little like meaningless lunch and then the squabble about rice and then like 5 minutes of Devon's trying to find an idol and people talking about who they're going to vote out. But I didn't, there was just no sense. Yeah. And then
All
quickly
of
we
it to
go
me
to
was the, beef ribs.
right.
That was the meatiest part of the episode. Can we talk about Jonathan for just a second?
Mhm.
You made a funny call out last week where you said, they broke them up into 2 sides of the beach, and you said, "I'm gonna go to Cerie's beach." So
You
that
said
Oh, one of I said that, I guess. And so Jonathan was really putting kind of Cirie on a pedestal a little bit. And
mhm.
then this week, before the hammock broke with Jonathan and Cirie in it, which was hilarious, it felt like he was going to like check with his mom.
Yeah.
Like he was like, "Okay, mom, what are we going to do next?" Or, "This is what I'm thinking. Am I on the right track?" It was like, "Mother, may I?"
Mhm.
Jonathan asking Cirie if he could vote so and so. If like it was interesting.
And I wanna know, would Cirie really vote for him knowing that his entire game was based on her guidance and direction, and he couldn't make a move without her?
I I think
I
if she
mean,
votes for somebody, it's going to be Aubrey
don't tell me that.
or Tiff. I
'Cause
can
I
see her.
told somebody today that I feel like she's gonna control most of the jury, and whoever she says is the winner is who they're all gonna vote for, and I don't want Aubrey to win.
I think that's a very valid, thought. I think she likes Aubrey more than the edit is showing, and I think they're
Mm,
probably closer than the edit is showing, but I think that's a really good point because if she's mentally manipulating everybody in the game, who's saying she can't do it outside of the game?
yeah.
Or
So
maybe she'd be on the jury and be like, "I don't know, Rick was fun to watch," or, oh, I guess you can't vote for him, and maybe she was like, "Rizzo, I want a kid to win."
yeah. Okay, let's quickly get through the rest of this episode because I wanna talk so much about all that kinda stuff,
Okay.
but I don't wanna get, like, too far ahead.
So
So go ahead.
they went to travel, and it was very clearly gonna be Rick and Rick played a shot in the dark. I thought about when he pulled out the shot in the dark, I was like, it's gonna work. It's gonna work. This is Rick's season. Anytime he takes a risk, it lands. It's gonna work. It is gonna work. It's fine. And it didn't work. So once he played his shot in the dark and it didn't work, it was pretty obvious that he was gonna be the goner. And he was. So Rick got voted out and he got emotional and it was very sweet. And it feels like when the old school players get voted out, there's way more like almost I hate to use the word somber, but it feels like they really, really respected the game and like respected the other players and whatnot. So it's kind of fun to watch and like listen to their summary of what they think happened and listen to them say their thank you. So I thought that was beautiful,
Yeah.
but it was time for him to go.
I agree, and I think too, it's like these older players or older players, especially the ones who've been back so many times, they seem to have so much more respect from Jeff and much more of, like, a relationship with Jeff, and you can tell that he feels it too, which is nice. Like, I know we talk crap about Jeff and stuff like that, but he's, still Jeff, and it's nice to see those relationships. So it feels like,
A
I don't know.
human.
Yeah, and someone who's, like, a family member is leaving versus, like, someone you just met
Yes.
one.
Yes. That's a good way to say it. Like it's a
Yeah.
breakup.
Yeah. I guess, like, this could be said at any point in this episode. I don't think I have to wait till the end to say this, but I don't necessarily love that 2 huge personalities, 2 major players, 2 beloved, castaways were voted out in this episode because they didn't, I don't feel like, get their, like, fair share of time, like, there wasn't enough, like, screen time for them or enough of the episodes to, like, send them off. I don't know, that's immature, I'm sure, but I wish they each had their own episode where they got voted out versus, like,
This
condensing it all.
episode felt very rushed, I think,
Mhm.
because they're trying to get 2 people and we knew 2 people had to go just because there's
Yeah.
not a ton of time left, but I agree, I wish they had kind of their spotlight, but I felt like kind of the same way with Colby when he got voted
Yeah.
out. It was just like, "Colby's gone, moving on," and I know he was hurt, it was a different situation, but I don't know. These players
Yeah.
have so much, like, lore and, like, history with the game, it felt very dismissive to be like, "Oh, okay, anyway, moving on to the next one."
I wish that, like, okay, I get we have 24 players and they're not extending the season, so we have to have a lot of multi-exit episodes, but I wish they had done those earlier on, I think.
Yeah.
Like, you could have done, a couple double eliminations before the merge or a few double eliminations before the merge so that we didn't have to see at this point where we should be getting, like, it's at this point post-merge where we have episodes that are way more about what's going on at camp and the strategizing that people are doing and things like that, the scrambling to find an idol or the scrambling to try to change a vote, like, we're not getting as much of that in these shorter or these shorter, like, blocks where we have multiple exits, so each section is condensed, and I think that's unfortunate, especially in season 50. Like, these are players who are going to be strategic and are going to be kinda nitty-gritty and trying to stay in the game or get people out, so it would be a good time to have that?
Well, Mary, they did have to give Zach Brown a full 90 minutes. They couldn't have possibly
Yeah.
used that time for anything else. He needed his full spotlight, and he got it, baby. He got it. Okay, so we said goodbye to Rick. Everyone was heartbroken. It was devastating, but I thought, it's fine. We still have Cirie. Is exactly what my thought was. Moving on. So quickly after Rick got voted out, some commercials, obviously. And then they went, I mean, just right into another individual immunity challenge. This one was an obstacle course that ended with they had to spell the word inconceivable, which is a difficult word. But what I don't want to make fun of anybody for spelling, and I want to preface this with the fact that I can't spell. I can't spell anything to the point where I type stuff out on my phone and it'll have, like, a red line under it saying, like, "Hey, that's not spelled right." And I'm like, "Okay, cool. Tell me how to spell it." And then my phone is like
This is so not a word that I don't even have
so I can't spell. So I'd be in the same shoes as Joe. But Joe barreled through the obstacle course portion and got to the end, and he knew the word was inconceivable, but he was like,
like,
"How do you"
right away. It's, like,
Yeah.
almost as soon as he got there.
Yeah, but he was, like, paralyzed because he couldn't spell it. And I thought, "What a funny." Because if I was going on Survivor, of course, I would wanna pump up my strength training so I felt, like, physically fit and strong. Of course, I'd wanna, like, work on puzzles so my brain was sharp, but would you have entered a spelling bee in preparation? No, I wouldn't have.
Dictionary. Yeah, that's funny, and I feel like this would be one of the harder challenges because it has to be spelled right on both sides, which I don't know if I would be able to do that quickly, but this challenge was so frustrating for me because I don't like it when people gang up on somebody. I see this a lot, I think, in the challenge more than anything else, but obviously we saw it here where we have like 4 or 5 people, however many there were, all obviously working together, like talking to each other. It cracked me up how many different people were like, what is the word? Is it inconceivable? Is it inconceivable? What is it? I think it's inconceivable. Like, it's probably what it is. Like, look at the letters. That's all it could be. And then, nobody, I almost felt like a couple people knew how to spell it, but were pretending they didn't. Like, I'm sure Aubry knew how to spell inconceivable and Rizzo knows how to spell inconceivable. I don't know if Joe and Jonathan do. Obviously, Jonathan or Joe doesn't, but,
Joel
um,
or nothing. I don't think either one of them needed to. But I want to make one quick call back on Joe. His original season, very similar situation. He had to spell something, got everything done the quickest since it on his platform. And this is the second time. Ozzy went home with 2 idols in his pocket, and Joe can't spell 2 seasons in a row. So we know they're weaklings now.
yeah. And I mean, in that situation too, I would be like, don't talk to me. Don't look at me. Don't come over here because I want to get this. And if people are asking me, I'd be so mad I would probably just push somebody if they came up to me repeatedly trying to figure out if I knew how to spell a word or whatever. Like, we are individual right now. Calm down. And I loved
Individual immunity challenge.
one thing, so as much as I dislike it when a bunch of people are working together and they leave one person out, I love even more when that one person ends up winning. So we saw that here with Tiffany, where she just really dialed in and got it. And I loved her answer when Joe was like, "Did you hear other people helping each other, but nobody was helping you and you weren't like being engaged?" Whatever he said. And she was like, "No, I have ADHD and I have to learn how to zone out." As someone who does have ADHD, I love that. I wouldn't have been able to. I wouldn't have been able to, like, block it all out. Um, I'm happy for her. I'm glad she
Yeah.
won.
I would have been in the same boat. I would have been like, "You said what? You said what? You and see what? I'm in." Yeah, I would have not been able to do that, but she locked in. She's I like that she's getting increasingly more sassy as the season goes on, just, like, openly sassy. I don't know if she's getting comfortable or what it is, but it's fun to watch.
Or the edit, maybe.
Maybe it's edit. Give us more tips because I think I'd like her more. Because right now I don't know, I feel like they've edited her as, like she's always, like, ticked off.
She has been angry a lot. She was mad. Remember those 2 tribals in a row where she came back to the beach? Heated. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, she's mad a lot.
getting kinda like the sage edit.
Mhm.
That's kinda how I feel about her.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I guess I'll just say this now because 'cause we're talking about her. I feel like in before I heard all the stuff I'm about to tell you, I was thinking like, I could see her winning. Like, she has been at the bottom, for some chunk of time here, but she's been real scrappy, like winning these challenges. And she's worked with the power players, like she was working with Cirie. She also has done strategizing with like, hey, we need to get people with idols out of here and like helping to like get that charge going, that sort of thing. But somebody today pointed out that she had multiple zero confessional episodes, and we've never had a survivor player that had a zero or a survivor winner who had zero confessional episodes in their season. So they were like, "Ain't no way." And I almost feel like maybe she is just mad, maybe she is just angry, and that's just who she is. I do remember her being a little heated on her season 2 or her first season, but, I wonder if she was edited in a way to, like, not make us too upset if she doesn't win, or to, like, make
Well,
it
with it being a live finale, how would the powers that be know
Becca, you just
what?
gave me life. That's a great point.
How would they know? How
I
could
keep
they edit it?
forgetting about that. Maybe the editors know, because they've
Oh,
already voted, right? Or no?
I thought they did it live.
Okay, 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 I'll accept that.
And
That's
that's
interesting. Maybe they, like, poll them and say, like, who would you vote for at this point?
yeah.
But they're gonna watch the whole season and see.
Mm,
This is just opening a new can of worms of questions that I have.
yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So Tiff got the individual immunity challenge. win, which is great. She's a rock star. And they went back to the beach and everybody was strategizing. There was some talk about Aubry, and then alluded to Cirie at the end, which led us all to believe Shroops going home, which very unfortunately she pretty much unanimously did. We are curious about Rizzo. Still has an idol. It didn't seem to be any conversation had about Rizzo playing his idol for Cirie. If he would have, Aubry would have went home last night and Rizzo and Cirie would still be here together.
Why didn't Suri play her shot in the dark? I guess she wanted to keep her vote.
But still, even if she played her shot in the dark and it didn't work, Rizzo could have played his idol for her.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe she was tired.
What if, like, everybody played their shot in the dark except for, like, one person, and so that person's vote was the only one, and then the person they voted for was the only person whose shot in the dark worked.
They're magical.
Love to see it.
I love it when they play their shot in the dark because it tells me as a viewer that you give a shit, that you want to be there, and that you are paying enough attention to realize that you're next on the line. I love when somebody plays their shot in the dark.
Me too, and I feel like a broken record here, but we've talked about this before, like, people have said, when we've talked about the shot in the dark on TikTok, people are like, "It makes you look weak," or, like, "You don't know what's going on," or that you're, vulnerable. Everybody's vulnerable. It's Survivor. People get blindsided all the time, like, it shows that you're in tune with what's going on and you're aware that you might be a target.
Yeah, I think it makes you look self-aware. Anyway, Rick, appreciate you using a shot in the dark. Maybe Suri didn't know. I'm sure she knew. She
Mhm.
knows everything. Her goodbye was very, very sweet. Seemed heartfelt. Jeff seemed equally disappointed that she was sleeping. It was really, I don't know, heartwarming. And I obviously didn't want to see Suri go. Nobody did. I think all of Survivor. Are we calling ourselves Survivor Nation? What are we calling ourselves?
Survivor Nation, I like that. Survivor Nation, Survivordom,
Yeah,
the
everybody,
Fijian.
worst case scenario, Rick and Suri went home, and that's the reality is Rick and Suri went home. So now we have a bunch of, and this is controversial, but we have a bunch of B-list players that nobody has picked for their favorites, and
Yeah.
one of them is going to end up winning.
It's unfortunate because I don't know, I guess in some ways it's fortunate, in some ways it's unfortunate. Where we sit right now, obviously we still have an entire episode to get through. Um,
It's an individual immunity challenge. So
mm,
Rizzo's going to go to the top four. We know that. Joe or Tiff is likely going to win immunity. So it'll be Rizzo. I'm going to guess Tiff. Actually, I kind of want it to be Joe so he can be tied with Buster Rob for individual immunity wins. The top three are going to be Rizzo, Joe, Tiff. Yeah. So I looked up, Vegas put out the odds for who they think is going to win, and it was like 90% Aubry. If I had $1 million, $2 million, since we're talking about Survivor, to bet on who I thought would win, she would be the last, or I thought should win. She would be the last person I chose. And I
mhm.
think a lot of people are giving her the credit for Ozzy going home. I don't think that was Aubrey.
Don't even there's no freaking way. And I think it's because and this is okay, now I'm just gonna start talking about stuff. So people said today that Aubrey is not inherently likable, like, not a lot of people like her personality and stuff like that, and the edit that she's getting is, like, I guess, showing the best they can of her, and also showing, like it's almost I wanna now what I was putting on Rizzo earlier in the season, I'm now gonna put on Aubrey. He was, like, showboating and acting like he had done all these things and was, like, the best player ever when he really had done nothing early on, and now she's doing that, but she literally has done nothing, and I don't even know how to explain what she's done, but it's like somebody will have an idea, and she just says it loud, and then she's like, "That was my idea," you know? Or, like, this thing where she keeps saying, "The ember can turn into a flame," or whatever, like, shut up, like, you are not the one that's been controlling the beach, and I don't know, maybe there was more stuff happening that we didn't see, but surely if she's in contingent or in, contention for winning, the edit would show her doing more impressive things. So
Yeah.
unless she does something big time
Behind the
next
scenes.
literally everybody else who's left has done so much more than her. Rizzo's done more than her, Tiff even with all of her wins and everything, and even Joe and Jonathan, like, I don't understand why people are so adamant that she's gonna win. I do not get it.
No, I don't either. And I don't want it to happen. And honestly, of all the people left, that's worst case scenario.
Mhm.
And it seems like it's the most likely. But maybe since it's blatantly the most likely, well, I'll say this. Every time they go into travel, the person who seems to be like the one is most of the time not the person getting voted out. So
Mhm.
maybe she won't. Is next week 2 hours?
I would assume so. Sometimes it's 3. Wouldn't the live finale be the 3rd hour?
My gosh. I'm
I
gonna
don't
have
know.
to be up till midnight?
I'll look, but I wouldn't be surprised. But let's think about this. So let's say you're right. We know Rizzo is gonna make it to the 4. Let's say Tiff wins immunity. Then we have the vote, and it's the people that could be voted out are Aubry, Joe, and Jonathan.
I bet they'll vote out Jonathan.
Yeah, so they're gonna get rid of a threat. Why? Because he's a threat. Then you have Joe, Aubry, Tiffany, and Rizzo. There's gonna be another challenge. Joe or Tiffany is gonna win it, and they're gonna put
Aubry is gone.
well, then wouldn't they pick fire makers?
Oh, yeah.
But either way, they're never going she's never going to be the name that gets thrown out there because she's a threat. She's gonna be a name just like she was earlier in the season that gets thrown out there because they don't like her and they don't trust her. Like, and I'm not trying to shit all over her, but that's just what
I
it is.
get it.
I just don't like somebody needs to give me a bulleted list of all of the things that she's genuinely done, not just the things that people are giving her credit for that she didn't have anything to do with.
Well, and name has come up every single travel. So is she gonna get votes from the jury? She has to get votes from the jury to win. There's no freaking way. Nobody's gonna vote for Aubry.
I can't imagine because
Emily,
I don't think Emily liked her either.
who do you think she'd vote for? Rizzo?
I could see her voting for Rizzo.
Or
I'm interested to see everybody's plea to the jury or whatever, because I feel like
that's my favorite
Tiffany
one.
could tell a good story, Rizzo could tell a good story, Aubry could make one up. What was it Devin said a few episodes ago? He was like, "That's a funny version of the story and
Yeah.
not the real one," you know? But I just can't imagine. Unless she, like, gets up there and really tries to take credit for a bunch of crap and they believe her somehow. Or if it's true and we just don't know because we didn't see it all. But again, why would they not show us the things that are gonna be important for the winner? But I don't know. That would be a good thing to do. We should make a list of all the jury members and then write down who they might be likely to vote for.
Are the votes public, or do
It should
they
be.
or do we see who voted for who?
I think we will, like, kinda like what they do with the credits, like, after the winner's announced, they'll show us who everybody voted for.
Ooh, do you think they're gonna make announcements about season 51?
I think so. I think they just wrapped season 51, so I bet they either get, like, um maybe they would even have the cast there to be like, "This is your Survivor 51," or at minimum, do, like, a preview of it and introduce the cast. But I bet shortly after we get, like, the promo videos of everybody and stuff.
Okay, next question. You know how before the season started, it's my favorite. So if you haven't watched our videos pre-Sweet for Survivor 50, please go back and watch them because we have some funny stories about the individual state, individual immunity hunt. So where everybody across the country could go to your state idol hunt. Do you think they're going to make like a big production out of the 50 winners of that? I just hope it doesn't go by the wayside because so many people had so much fun, and
Mhm.
it's a great way to kind of connect members of
Okay.
Survivor fan base.
I wanna say that I think they'll do a segment on it, like, maybe 5 minutes or something, maybe even 10 minutes, or maybe they'll highlight them throughout the episode. Because you know how, like, when they do the live one,
At the
they'll what? Oh my god, they better not. I bet maybe he was supposed to be and they were like
finale. You know, I like my chicken fried.
but I bet you know how, like, when they used to do the live finales, it'd always start with Jeff in the studio or whatever, and he'd be like, "Welcome to Survivor season whatever finale live," and everybody would clap. And then they would, like, intermittently show the episode, and then they would go back to Jeff, and they would, like, talk to somebody or whatever. They could intersperse the state things with that, I think. I think it will be 3 hours.
I hope they make
We're gonna see Cardboard Jeff Probst on TV. Is there a ghost?
something like that. Okay, Cardboard Jeff Probst. Can you please share with the listeners about Cardboard Jeff Probst?
Cardboard Jeff Probst, you should follow on Instagram if you're not, is carried around by a lovely lady. She was at the Indiana idol hunt thing at the Fulling Warehouse, and we saw Jeff, like, we were in line and we looked back, and it was, like, freezing cold outside, and we see, like, Cardboard Jeff Probst going by. So we saw him then, and then she brought him back for, it was the night that we went back to the Warehouse to see, Johnny Fairplay and Richard Hatch. And she might have also been at the, premiere thing that we went to, I don't remember.
I think she
But
was.
it's
She's
so fun.
she's got this life size, like, cardboard cutout of Jeff, and
Oh,
it's signed on the back by a whole bunch of previous Survivor players, which is so fun. And she is the person, which is the perfect person. If it's not gonna be one of us, I'm glad it's her. And
there's
it's I don't even know her name. I just know she's
I
cardboard
was just thinking like,
Probst.
"Oh, man, that's embarrassing." Imma look it
So
up.
look her up on Insta, cardboard Jeff Probst.
And she went to multiple states, right? Like, she didn't
Yeah.
just Indiana. Very fun, and that's the kinda thing I think I'm happy, and I think it's fun because I would've I was worried that it was gonna be all rigged and it'd just be, like, random people whose parents were rich or famous or whatever who got to go, and I love
Yeah,
that
or
there's,
people
like
who looked good, like, looked like
yeah,
heart.
yeah, or had, like, 1,000 or 10,000, 20,000 followers or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, there could be people like that there, but
Do
I'm
you think
glad.
they're gonna let her bring cardboard Jeff Probst?
They've got to. Do you and I hope I hate to say this is gonna make
Do
me
you think
sound
he
like
has to be the plus one?
how's she gonna hopefully it folds up. You know, we don't like a sob story around here. It's the worst part of Survivor. I was a little bit nervous too that a lot of the people that got picked would just have a sob story.
Yeah.
And maybe before Jeff Probst does, but that's not what she's leading with, so I'm a fan.
Yeah. No, she's leading with a cardboard cutout of Jeff Probst. We have a picture of him. We'll post him somewhere. Look for
Yeah.
us on Insta, and if you see it, comment and say, "Congratulations, cardboard Jeff Probst. You've
Yes.
made
Okay, so
final winner prediction." If you had to
yeah.
say right now.
Give me one moment to think about this. Okay. I have to
I'm
do
gonna tell you who
some
I think it's gonna be and who I want it to be.
okay.
I think it's gonna be Aubry. I want it to be Rizzo.
I wish you'd stop saying that even.
Why? Because you don't
I
win.
don't like it. I don't want that to
I
be
don't.
what it is. I'm sorry, Aubrey. I don't want you to be the winner. I don't even know. I think I would need to get an Excel spreadsheet out to figure this out. Like who I even think is going to make it to the final three. Because I could see Joe and Jonathan
They
work
both make it.
together and trying to get like Tiff or somebody to work with them to vote Rizzo out by convincing them that he was working with Cirie the whole time and he had this idol the whole time and he's a threat or whatever, so that they're not the vote. Um, I think people will just forget about Aubry, honestly. Like, I don't think she's gonna be a name in anybody's mouth, so I think she'll make it to the final 3. I think it's possible that Rizzo will as well, but I think it's more likely that it'll be, like, Aubry, Joe, and Tiffany or something who make it to the final 3, or Aubry.
I think that Joe and Jonathan no, I think Tiffany and Jonathan will say, "We gotta get Joe out of here." I don't think Joe and Jonathan will both make it. I think one way or another, they'll say, "Well, there's not room for both of
It's
them.
fair.
There's only
Yeah, especially
one
when
meat slot."
I think that Joe is gonna be the one to get to pick who does fire. So,
Mm,
because I think he'll win the immunity challenge. So, I think it'll
unless
be
it
Joe
involves
for sure. I think he'll take
Tiff.
I don't know, I think he would take Aubrey, and then he would have Tiffany and Rizzo make fire, and then I would have to assume that Tiffany will make fire and Rizzo will not. But who do I want to win? Either Rizzo or Tiffany. Who do I think is gonna win? The internet's telling me Aubrey, but to your point, we don't know yet. No one's voted yet. So
No.
everybody calm down
Everybody
about
on the internet I have 2 things to say to people on the internet. 1, don't say you know who wins because I don't even think the winner knows who wins. And 2, I've been on a hot rant about this all season. Stop griping about spoilers. If the episode's over and you haven't watched it yet, stay off social media until you watch it because it not you can't expect the whole world to be quiet because you have not had time to watch Survivor yet. And I'm
I agree
sorry,
with
but you can't. And don't be
especially if a lot of your feed is Survivor related. Like, don't be going
yes.
on it.
Yes. When the Super Bowl is played, do you call CBS and say, "Hey, CBS, please don't talk about the Super Bowl because I haven't had time to watch it. Please don't talk about the presidential election because I haven't had time to look at it." No, you don't say that. Anyway, that's my rant. There's no such thing as spoilers, and don't say it's been leaked when I really don't think they know.
And I think too, especially if I'm someone who's on that or playing that game and then I watched this season and then I'm gonna go vote for somebody, I'm
Oh,
100% not voting for Aubrey after watching this season.
yeah.
But that makes
Yeah,
me go back to
about that is they get to go back and watch it.
but
Do
do
they?
they I feel like they vote before the finale because because remember he used to take the urn and, like, go on a jet ski and all that?
Yeah, I take back everything I said.
So I think that they've already voted. I think it's fair to say maybe they don't know, but I'm sure they do know because I'm sure somebody like Jeff and the producers and stuff probably open it up and figure out, you know, how they wanna edit the season based on whose names are in the urn. So, it's possible that
You know what I think is funny? This is kind of
but no one
unrelated.
knows for sure.
No one knows for sure. It's kind of unrelated, but it's kind of related. So when they do Miss America, there'll be like a top 2 or top 3 or top 5 or whatever, and then there's like 5 judges or 6 judges or something, and then they have Ernst& and Young, the accounting company, big global hoopla, calculate the votes, and they make it sound like this big thing, and they take like a commercial break or 2 to be like, "Oh, Ernst& and Young is calculating the votes." For like 6 people to vote for 5 people, so it's gonna be pretty cut and dry. I always think that's really funny, and then Jeff is just up there with an urn and, little slivers of paper, and it's very casual. It feels like overkill from a Miss America organization.
If Aubrey convinced people in her jury spiel to vote for her, I might have to reconsider me thinking that she's just not like, that she's overrated, because that would be a feat, I think, to have literally done nothing and except for be part of an alliance or even she wasn't really part of an alliance, but, like, just knowing which way to vote or whatever, like, that's all she did, like, that's her power
She'd have to
play.
be a hell of a writer in order to write
Mhm.
something that would convince me to vote for her if I was on the jury. I think it'll be close. I don't think it'll be unanimous like it was last time.
Do you think all 3 people will get a vote?
There's too many jury members for them not to.
I feel like I'm gonna just hold out hope that Rizzo can win, because as much as he annoyed me at the beginning of the season and as much I didn't want him to win because I didn't want it to be somebody who was just on 49, I think, has earned my respect and has played a good game. He's had some of those old school players wrapped around his finger. He's had, moments where he was being strategic and he convinced people to do things, and he was smart to recognize who he needed to buddy up with, I mean, if you can become Cirie's number 1, that says a lot about who you are and how you play this game.
He's back for a
I
little
wish he could win, but I don't think he's going to. But you know what I hate? This is another thing I wanted to ask your opinion on, is people saying that what did they say? The phrase that really made me mad was somebody doesn't have enough win equity or something. Like, what?
what's
Just
that mean?
because new doesn't like, they were saying that Rizzo doesn't have enough, I think that was the phrase, like, win equity, so nobody would vote for him. And I guess what it means is, like, you haven't played enough or you're too new or whatever.
But he hasn't had the opportunity. Like, that's you can't you have to vote based on his sin 50 performance. You don't
Right.
vote on
Or
somebody's
report card.
right. And he hasn't had the chance. He's what, 23? I hate that. Whoever said
And
that.
so many people, I mean, like, majority seasons of Survivor, it's somebody who never played before who won.
Yeah,
So, I don't like that. Or, like, the idea that people would vote for Aubrey because she's played so many times and it's
I
her
agree.
turn. Like, I don't like that, just like I didn't want that for Cirie, like, I wanted her to win because she made it to the end somehow without being able to win a challenge and convinced everyone and won. So I hate that. Or like she was robbed in her season Michelle won, she should have won, so let's give her this one. No, no, no.
Yeah, no,
Let's
no.
look at what they did this season. Anyway, sorry.
She's too good of a
Brain
player to hand it to.
or maybe I need to go back and rewatch. Like, I didn't find her interesting or her game that good in Game Changers. I need to go back and rewatch.
I need to go back and rewatch Game Changers just because I haven't seen it in a long time. Dun, dun,
Anyway,
dun.
so it'll be interesting to see. I think it's gonna be a fun episode regardless. I'm interested to see if there are any more twists coming our way. I know they're gonna make a big deal about revealing whether there's gonna be fire, and revealing to the contestants that there's gonna be a live finale, but hopefully there's something else in there that kinda shakes things up, but not anything that makes anything unfair.
Right. And no more Zach Brown or celebrities in general. The only
Yeah.
celebrities can be players. Matt White is it wonder if the people who got voted off will go to the grand finale.
Well, yeah, they should. Mike
Yeah,
White might not because he's too
too
good
good
for
for her.
everybody,
He's
but
working his abs somewhere.
I'm never gonna get over the fact that he left because he didn't like the food. Or the fact that he just made it very clear that he just thought it was like a fun life experience to come and play again, not that he actually wanted to come and win.
All right. Well, thanks for watching. We are so excited for the finale. I feel like this has been such a fun season and such a long season, and the finale really kind of snuck up on us because it's been really entertaining. It has. It's
Yeah.
felt very old school Survivor. So if you have been listening along or following along with us on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, X, wonderful, great. We appreciate you following along. But we will be back same time next week with reactions to the finale.
And if, you're in the Indianapolis area, we're gonna be at the Fowling Warehouse for the, finale party, and you should come too.
Tickets are free and they're available, so grab them while you can.